I don't usually talk about what happened that weekend. Not just because it still messes with my head, but because it was supposed to be a break. A quick, cheap weekend up in the mountains with some old friends. Nothing fancy. Just get out of LA for a couple days, breathe fresh air, drink, talk, maybe play some old music, and pretend we weren't all glued to our phones 24/7. We were all city people. Me, Nate, Chris, Heather, and Tara. I'd known Nate since college. He's the kind of guy who organizes everything and double checks the Airbnb 5 times. He found this cabin up near Mount Shasta. Said it had Wi-Fi, running hot water, and even a backup generator. Sounded too good for the price, honestly. But I said yes. We all did. And if I had known what that weekend would turn into, I'd have never gotten in that car. We left LA on a Friday morning. By the time we were halfway up into the hills, it was already raining. The kind of sideways. Heavy rain that makes your wipers useless. We reached the cabin around sunset. The sky was this weird orange-gray, like the sun gave up trying to push through clouds. The cabin was older than it looked in pictures, but not in a bad way. Rustic. 2 bedrooms, a small living room, full kitchen with stove. It backed into dense pine woods. No neighbors, no street lights, just trees, fog, and rain. Chris joked it was serial killer quiet, but we settled in pretty quick. Nate unpacked his Bluetooth speaker. Tara made drinks. We all passed the phone around trying to pick a playlist. It felt normal. Until around 9:45 that night, when Nate got a weather alert on his phone. He read it out loud. Severe weather warning in your area. High probability of downed trees and flash flooding. Remain indoors. Lock all windows and doors. We all looked at each other like, okay, weirdly dramatic, but sure. It was raining. But then Chris's phone lit up. Same alert. Then mine. Then Heather. All the same app. Something called Storm Shield Pro. Except none of us remembered downloading it. Only Tara didn't get the alert. She asked what app it was. Nate shrugged and said, I think I downloaded it last week. I sent you guys the Wi-Fi password earlier, right? That's when I started to feel off, like a small itch in the back of your brain. Tara asked again, you guys installed this today? Nope, I said, pretty sure I didn't. Chris was already checking his phone. What the hell? This app has full access permissions, like location storage camera. Can't even uninstall it, Heather said. It's locked. That's when another alert came in. Shelter may already be compromised. Do not trust unknown individuals. Avoid splitting up. We stared at it, and suddenly it stopped being funny. Okay, who's messing around? Nate asked, but nobody said a word. We tried closing the app. Wouldn't close. We went into settings. Nothing. All right, I don't like this. I muttered. Could be some malware crap or prank app. Tara looked dead serious. This isn't random. Someone made sure we all had it. Except me. You guys all connected to Nate's Wi-Fi, right? I didn't even finish that thought before the power flickered. The whole cabin went dark for half a second. When the lights came back, another alert popped up. Stay where you are. Do not approach doors or windows. Intruder may already be nearby. Okay, I'm out, Chris said, grabbing a jacket. I'm going to the car. Nate went and unlocked the front door. He opened it, and there was a guy standing just outside the porch. Not moving, just standing there in the rain. Head down, no umbrella, soaking wet, just watching us. I swear, I've never heard a cabin go that quiet. We just stood there, frozen, watching this guy, soaked to the bone, standing perfectly still in the rain. His head was tilted slightly forward, like he was staring at the floorboards on the porch. But the second Nate moved, like barely shifted his weight, the man snapped his head up right at us. And I'll never forget that look. He didn't look surprised or scared. He looked pleased. Nate slammed the door shut, so hard the windows rattled. Who the hell was that? Tara whispered. Did anyone invite somebody else up here? Chris asked, why would someone hike out here in a storm with no jacket, no flashlight, nothing? Heather added, nobody had an answer. I pulled the curtains shut, turned off the main lights. Just a fire and a couple lamps stayed on. I remember my heart was beating so fast it felt like I could hear it in my ears. Nate grabbed the cabin's landline, but there was no dial tone. Chris pulled up the Airbnb app to contact the host, but the listing was gone, deleted. Every single detail just vanished. And then, as if on cue, another alert popped up. All of us, same time. Intruder sighted. Do not separate. Remain calm. Individual may be impersonating someone in your group. That one hit different. You could actually feel the room shift. Heather backed away from Chris. Tara looked at Nate. Okay, I said, try and keep my voice steady. It's trying to mess with us. It wants us paranoid. But I was already paranoid. And so was everyone else. Nate pulled a kitchen knife out of the drawer and set on the counter. If this is some kind of prank or app glitch, fine. But if it's not, why would the app know someone's impersonating us? Chris interrupted, and Tara, with his flat, cold voice, said, because someone made it do that. That silence again. Heavy, wet, pressure in your ears kind of silence. And then I remembered something. On the drive up, Nate had offered to optimize all our phones for battery. Said he had this great app to stop background refresh. We all handed him our phones without thinking. Only Tara didn't. She said she didn't want random apps messing with her Instagram filters. That's why she didn't get the alert. I looked at Nate. So did Chris. Dude, what app did you install? Nate's face went completely blank. Like the lights in his head just shut off for a second. I don't remember. It was just something called Storm Shield Pro. It looked legit. Where did you find it? Heather asked. He opened his mouth, then closed it. I don't remember. You don't remember downloading an app that's hijacking all our phones and telling us one of us might be an imposter? No, I'm telling you, I don't remember. That's when Tara backed toward the hallway. I'm gonna go lock the back door. Wait, Tara, don't go alone. But she was already gone. 5 seconds passed. 10. Then we heard the back door creak open. I grabbed the knife from the counter. Chris ran down the hall toward the back. Tara? Tara. Silence. Then bam, the hallway light exploded. I mean, literally popped like a gunshot. And that's when we heard Tara scream. A single, high-pitched yell that cut off mid-breath. I swear, I've never moved that fast in my life. We charged down the hallway and found the back door wide open. The wind had knocked over a lamp. Rain was coming in sideways. But there was no Tara, just her phone, lying in a puddle by the threshold. The screen was still on. Another weather alert had just popped up. We stood there in that doorway, soaked, shaking, looking out into nothing but black trees and misty rain. And all I could see in my mind was Tara's scream, the way it cut off so unnaturally fast. Nate was the first to speak. She must have run into the woods. Are you hearing yourself? Chris snapped. You think she ran into the pitch-black woods during a storm with nothing but her phone? Then where is she? We're wasting time, Heather whispered. We need to get help. She pulled out her phone, tried calling 911. Nothing. Same with mine. Chris, no signal. It's like someone's jamming us, I muttered. And then another alert. Signal suppressed. Do not attempt to leave. Intruders inside. For remaining, we all looked at Nate. He was backing away from us now. His hands were up, his eyes wide. I didn't make this app. I swear, I don't know what's happening. But then Heather noticed something. Why is your battery still full? He blinked. What? All our phones are nearly dead. You said you downloaded that battery-saving app, remember? You said that's why you needed to install Storm Shield. She held up her phone. 7% battery. Chris's? 5%. Mine, 4%. Nate's, 94%. And that's when I noticed his phone wasn't even charging. The rain outside got louder. No, not just rain. Footsteps on the back porch. Multiple. Slow. Heavy. Wet. Heather screamed. Chris backed toward the front door. I swear I saw a movement outside, just beyond the window, like figures darting between trees. I grabbed Nate by the collar. "What did you install?" "I didn't install it myself," he shouted. "I let someone do it at that tech booth in Silver Lake last weekend. They said it would boost signal and battery, and I let go of him. You let a stranger root your phone, then use it to share Wi-Fi with the rest of us." Heather backed up to the living room window and slowly peeled the curtain back. "Guys, they're all around the cabin. At least 5 people. Raincoats, hoods, just standing, not moving, just waiting." Nate's phone lit up again. "Isolation protocol complete. Begin retrieval." Then, cabin door locks disabled. The front door slowly creaked open. One of them stepped inside. No mask, just this dead expression, like he'd already done this 100 times before. He raised his hand, not with a weapon, but holding a phone, a copy of the exact same app, and on his screen, Target 1, Terra complete. Target 2, Chris in progress. We ran. Chris turned to bolt through the kitchen, but another figure was already coming through the back door. He tackled Chris to the ground, screaming, struggling. Heather threw a chair at him, but the guy barely flinched. I grabbed Heather's hand. Nate was gone, literally just vanished. We sprinted down the hallway and locked ourselves in one of the bedrooms, pushed the dresser in front of the door. Heather collapsed, sobbing, and on my phone screen, a final alert appeared, signal confirmed. Final transmission in progress. The screen started glitching, not static, but like someone was accessing the camera remotely. I could see myself, holding the phone, shaking, and then I heard a voice, faint, whispering through the phone speaker. 3 remaining. 2. We stayed barricaded in that bedroom for what felt like an hour. Every creak of the floorboards, every gust of wind. We thought someone was coming in. Heather was barely holding it together. I wasn't doing much better. My phone battery hit 2%. The screen was flickering, and the app, it wouldn't close. Wouldn't even let me shut the phone off. The last message still there, pulsing. 3 remaining. 2. But we didn't know who the other person was. Was Nate still alive? Was Chris? Or were we the only 2 left? That's when I heard it. Movement inside the cabin. Not outside, inside. Saw footsteps, like bare feet on old wood. They moved past the door once. Paused. Then slowly came back. A knock. Not pounding. Just a single, soft knock. Then a voice calm. Flat. Familiar. "It's Nate. Let me in." I froze. "How do we know it's you?" I asked. Silence. Then he said, "I need your phones." That was it. Nothing else. No explanation. No questions. Just, "I need your phones." Heather shook her head, panicked. "That's not him." "Or it's him," I whispered. "But he's not really him anymore." Another knock. Louder this time. My phone screen blinked again. The app reopened automatically. This time it had a map, a live tracking feed. It showed 5 blinking dots. One was gone. Another was moving toward our room. Then the alert changed. Target 3, Heather in progress. "Turn off your phone," she cried. "I can't. It won't." A third knock. The doorknob jiggled. Heather grabbed the lamp and raised it like a bat. I stood there like an idiot, holding a useless phone, no signal, battery at 1%. I finally yelled, "What the hell do you want from us?" And then the voice answered, low and calm. "They're not here for you. They're here for your data." "What?" "The app. It doesn't steal your money. It doesn't crash your phone. It learns how you panic. how you react, how you isolate. It's behavioral data, real-time fear modeling. Who are you? A contractor, he said. For who? Whoever pays the most. Another knock, and then the power went out again. Total darkness. No more blinking screens. No more app. No more light. Just rain. And footsteps. I don't remember how long we stayed there. At some point, the door never opened. The footsteps stopped. And when the sun came up, they were gone. Nate, Chris, Tara, no signs of struggle. No blood. The phones were still on the table, wiped clean. Factory reset. No app. No alerts. No proof it ever existed. I wish I could say we moved on, that we found them, that the cops believed us. But the official report just says 3 missing adults. Cabin showed no signs of forced entry. No criminal activity confirmed. We tried tracing the app. Nothing. No record of Storm Shield Pro ever existing on the App Store or Google Play. Some hacker friend even looked into our devices, found traces of a custom firmware embedded via Wi-Fi sharing, like a digital parasite. All he said was, "You were part of a test." A test for what? He didn't answer, just looked at me, pale, and said, "Delete everything, throw out the phone, and never stay somewhere with no neighbors again." A month later, I bought a new phone, new number, new account. But last week, while sitting alone in my apartment during a thunderstorm, I got a push notification. No sender, just a single message. Reconnection established. And beneath it, one remaining. My name's Ethan, born and raised in Portland. I've seen my share of weird stuff. Homeless guys screaming at trees, meth heads talking in mailboxes, protests every other weekend. You just get used to noise here. But what happened to my friend Dylan last October? It wasn't noise. It was something way deeper, quieter, slower, like rot spreading beneath your floorboards. You don't notice it until your whole house starts to stink. Dylan was the kind of guy who you'd call if your phone died and you were stuck at 3 a.m. on a bridge somewhere, and he'd actually show up. No drama. Just, "Yo, what's up?" with a smile. Chill. Kind. Never loud. Never fake. That night, the night everything went down, it was raining. Not just light drizzle Portland rain. I mean dumping, streets flooding, sidewalks turning into rivers. I was home, warm, dry. Dylan had gone out for drinks with some co-workers. Just a small happy hour spot near Burnside. Nothing crazy. Around 10:30 p.m., he texted me, "Bro, this rain is wild, LOL. Might Uber 17 minutes away. Might just walk. I'm only like 12 blocks out." I told him he was nuts. He said, "Yeah, a little rain never killed anyone. Except maybe it did. He never made it home. At first, I figured maybe he crashed at a friend's place. Happens. But by noon the next day, his phone was going straight to voicemail, and no one from work had heard from him. By 3 p.m., I was calling hospitals. By 5 p.m., I filed a missing persons report. It wasn't until that night that I saw it. A post in a Portland subreddit. Just a warning from someone random. The title was, "White van offering shelter in rain. Do not get in." My stomach dropped. I clicked the post. It said something like, "Saw a white van pull up to someone last night on Burnside. Guy looked friendly. Offered a towel and a ride. Looked clean, mid-40s, glasses. Van had tinted windows. I didn't see the person get in, but I haven't seen them since. Just be careful." There was a photo. Blurry, grainy. But I swear to you, even before I zoomed in, I knew. It was Dylan. I called the cops the second I saw that post. At first, I thought they wouldn't take it seriously. Just another Reddit conspiracy. But surprisingly, they did. Turns out I wasn't the only one who had come forward that day. 2 other families had filed missing persons reports. Both victims were last seen walking alone in the rain, late at night, both near Burnside. Both had told friends they were planning to walk instead of wait for a ride. Both were offered shelter by a man in a white van. The cops didn't share much at first, but I could tell they were spooked. One of the officers, a younger guy, maybe early 30s, pulled me aside outside the station. He said, "Off the record, we've been tracking a pattern. Similar descriptions. Same type of van. But this time we might have caught a break." I asked what he meant. He told me there was surveillance footage, not official traffic cams. But Delivery Hub had a corner-mounted security camera facing the street. Just happened to catch a white van pulling over near a guy in a hoodie. Dylan wore a hoodie that night. They showed me the footage. No audio, just grainy black and white video. But you can clearly see Dylan walking down the sidewalk, hoodie up, hold his phone in one hand, hunched against the rain. Then the van pulls up beside him, slides into frame, slow and smooth. No sudden moves. The window rolls down. You can't see the driver, just a faint outline. But you can see Dylan look toward, hesitate, and walk closer. The van doesn't lurch, doesn't grab him. No violence. Just a towel gets handed out through the window. Dylan wipes his face, laughs. Then he climbs in. The van sits there for maybe 10 seconds, then pulls away. And that's it. Dylan was never seen again. I must have watched that footage 50 times. There was no license plate visible, no markings, just a basic old white Dodge Ram van with tinted windows. The kind you see parked at construction sites. Plain, boring, forgettable. But there was one thing, one frame, that changed everything. A single moment, right after Dylan gets in, when the interior light flicks on for half a second. And in that flash, you can see something in the back seat. At first I thought it was just junk, maybe boxes or a folded tarp. But when I paused the footage at just the right second, I saw it. A hand, not Dylan's. Another hand, pale, resting on the bench seat behind the driver. Limp, motionless. Someone else was already in that van. The next few days felt like a fever dream. News picked it up. The words white van were everywhere. People were flooding social media with stories. People claiming they'd been offered towels or rides, or had seen a similar van in other cities. Seattle, Sacramento, Boise, always the same. Heavy rain, young adult alone, white van, friendly driver, offers shelter and a towel. Then silence. Most people assumed it was some psycho kidnapping for ransom or trafficking, but there was no evidence. No bodies, no ransom demands, no trace of any victim, just disappearance. Vapor. Some internet sleuths started calling it the Towel Van. Others, darker forums, had a different name, the Rain Collector. They claimed it wasn't just one guy, but a group, a network, maybe even a cult, using storms as cover to abduct people. Sounds insane, I know. I wouldn't have believed it either until the email. 5 days after Dylan vanished, I got an email. No subject, no name, just one sentence. He was polite, very polite. He didn't scream. I stared at it for a long time, thinking it was a sick prank. Maybe someone tried to mess with me, until I saw the attachment. It was a short, pixelated video, just 7 seconds long. It showed the inside of a van, same bench seats, same peeling gray vinyl, same towel, and in the corner, Dylan, face blank, eyes red, breathing slowly, just sitting there, not tied, not gagged, just sitting. Then the video cut to black. I brought the video to the police. They froze. They pulled me into a side room, showed me something they hadn't released to the public. It was another video from just 2 nights ago. Surveillance from a highway rest stop 90 miles east of Portland. Same white van, same tinted windows. It pulls into frame, stops under a light for exactly 18 seconds, and then slowly backs out of frame. And in that brief moment, as the brake lights flare, there's a silhouette, someone in the front passenger seat, someone wearing Dylan's hoodie. But the scariest part? He's smiling. That was 6 months ago. Since then, 5 more people have vanished in the same way, always during rainstorms, always last seen near a white van. The news doesn't cover it anymore. The public lost interest. Just another missing person. But I still search every night. I keep a burner phone. I scan subreddits, weather alerts, footage dumps. Sometimes I even walk alone during storms, hoping that same van will pull up beside me. And when it does, if it ever does, I'll be ready. I grew up in Philly. I've seen fights, break-ins, accidents, drug overdoses, all of it. I've worked graveyard shifts, taken the subway at 3 a.m., even slept through a car crash once. So when I tell you something shook me to my core, something I still don't talk about out loud, understand that this isn't just some spooky campfire story. This happened last year, and I still check the peephole 3 times before opening my door. My name's Jordan. I live alone in a small apartment in the northeast side of the city. Nothing fancy, but it's quiet. This took place during a nasty thunderstorm in early April. One of those nights where the wind sounds like it's ripping the siding off buildings and rain just slams the windows like it's angry. Power flickered once around 8 p.m., so I lit a few candles just in case. Made some ramen. Threw on some music. Nothing crazy. I wasn't expecting any visitors, and I definitely hadn't ordered food. But at 9:18 p.m., someone knocked on my door. It wasn't aggressive, just 2 short knocks. I looked through the peephole and saw a guy holding a delivery bag, one of those old-school plastic ones with red writing on it. No thermal pouch, no jacket or company logo, just a black hoodie. His face was hard to see, half in shadow, soaked from rain. I cracked the door, just enough to talk. Yeah. He raised the bag. Delivery for Jordan, apartment 2B. I blinked. I didn't order anything. He pulled out the receipt. There it was. My name, my unit number. Phone number was blank, but the order listed paid online. It even had a timestamp, 8:52 p.m. Now, I'd had friends mess with me before, sending me food or prank orders. I figured maybe someone was doing that. I looked at him again. The guy looked miserable. Water dripping off his nose. He didn't push or beg, just looked cold. Then he said, "Mind if I just wait inside for a few minutes? It's flooding out here. My car broke down." Now listen, I should have said no, but I was raised to not leave people in storms. And I'd let other delivery guys in before. What was one more? I opened the door, and he walked in. He didn't take his shoes off, didn't put the bag down either. Just walked slowly to the middle of the living room and stood there, looking around like he was scoping the place out. I offered him a towel. He didn't respond, just stared at the flickering candlelight like he wasn't used to it. I tried to break the awkward silence. "You from around here?" "Nothing." "Hey, thanks for the food, even though I didn't order it." He smiled a little, but not in a warm way. More like he understood something I didn't. I was about to ask again who sent the food when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. Then it buzzed again. This time I picked up. "Hi, this is Sam from Chopstick Express. Just letting you know your driver's stuck in traffic. Might be another 20 minutes or so." I looked at the man still standing in my apartment. My stomach dropped. "Wait, what driver?" The woman on the phone paused. "Your order for sesame noodles, spring rolls, and Thai iced tea? You placed it at 8:52 p.m. I looked at the bag on the table. Same items. Identical. I lowered my phone. The man hadn't moved. Still holding the bag. still staring. Only now, he was smiling. That same empty grin. Teeth just slightly too big. Head tilted like he was watching an animal try to figure out a trick. Who sent you? I asked. Nothing. Was this a prank? Still nothing. I backed toward the door slowly and grabbed my phone again. You need to leave, I said. He just blinked. Finally set the bag down, gently, and sat on the edge of my couch like he lived there. I didn't want to escalate, so I moved toward the hallway. That's when I saw it. A dark stain on the bag. Underneath, seeping onto the coffee table. Not grease, not soy sauce. Something thicker, something red. I called 911 as I gave them my address. The man finally stood up, not angry, not surprised, just calm. He walked over to the bag, opened it, pulled out a large folded cloth, soaked, dripping, and underneath it, a knife, not a kitchen one, a hunting knife, serrated with something on the blade. He looked at me, no words. I dropped the phone, ran into the bedroom, slammed the door, locked it, pushed my dresser in front of it. I could hear him moving outside, slow, dragging steps. Then nothing. Cops arrived 9 minutes later. The man was gone. No trace. Door still locked. No signs of forced entry. Just a bag, sitting on the table with no food inside. No receipt. Just a knife. And a small file folder. Inside were photos. Old. Printed. Black and white. All of them taken from above, like from a rooftop or balcony. Each showed someone standing at their door, opening it for a delivery. Their names were scribbled on the back in pen. I recognized none of them, except one, mine. I moved out 2 weeks later, canceled every delivery app one had, got a new number, changed apartments, changed routines. I gave the cops everything. The knife, the bag, the folder. They ran prints. Nothing. No match. Security camera from my hallway showed no one coming or going. The footage glitched between 9:15 and 9:40 p.m. They called it a malfunction. Microwave interference. Lightning strike. You believe what you want. Me? I think the man with the bag wasn't working alone. I think someone sent him, or something did. And I think somewhere out there, there's a list of people who open their doors too easily. And I was almost next.